I haven't held one of these sort of sessions, learning sessions before, and I don't know if you had an agenda planned. I have a whole number of questions I want to ask about what's happening in DRC, but would you like to introduce yourself and what you want to talk about today?
Sure. I'm really sorry. I cannot open my camera because the connection is not high today.
Oh, no problem.
Uh, okay. So I'm François Kamate Kasereka, a climate activist and a human rights defender. I'm involved in social movements like Extinction Rebellion, Ruchuru in DRC, Debt for Climate, and Lucha. Lucha is a citizen movement which stands for Struggle for Change. And of course, apart from this, I'm also volunteering with CBA. CBA means Congo Basin Alliance. Is a collective of social movements from, DRC and other countries.
Oh, great. The Congo Basin Alliance, you say it's a collective of various social movements. Could you maybe explain a little bit more about the different organizations and countries that it's partnered with?
Yes, there is a Money Institute, ISBL. This is a non-profit organization based in, active in Congo, especially in the east, in North Kivu province. Climate Clock. This is a social movement active in South Kivu, South Kivu, okay, in the east. There are other social movements like VDH. This is a collective of young volunteers who are working to promote the culture of peace and environment, sustainable environment, development, I'm sorry. Apart from these, there are as well other social movements like um, Shuja. This is another collective active in Congo. There are other movements like Limpieza from DRC, Extinction Rebellion Ruchuru as well is part of this consortium. And in Europe, there are some activists, especially in Berlin, Germany, who are as well part of the collective. Like there is Free Congo Collective, Berlin, and
I wonder,
there are also
sorry,
other
you were
others.
talking.
Apart from DRC, sorry.
Sorry,
Yes,
I think
yeah,
maybe
I was
you
saying that.
dropped out for a second.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. I had a call, so reason why you didn't hear me. So I was saying that there are social movements. Most of them are from Congo, and others are just in Europe. For example, the Free Congo Collective Berlin. This is part of the campaign, the Congo Basin Alliance, and of course, it is a small collective that is growing. We need to go further, maybe to go very far. So this is just the beginning. Maybe there will be other collectives that can easily join the movement. So
Yeah, I wonder when you're talking about the different connections that you have in Europe, is there much support from Belgium?
mm, Belgians, there are some people, but they are not much involved in the collective. There are friends of from Extinction Rebellion in Brussels. Yeah, they sometimes organize events to stand in solidarity with people from DRC, but they are not concentrated on the topics or on what is happening here.
Oh, wow. That's quite surprising to hear, given, the history of Belgium in the region, right? You would think that there would be more of a, I don't know, a sense of responsibility, right? Oh, interesting. I wonder why that is. Um,
Mm.
I guess maybe it would be worth giving some context about what's happening in the region now. Maybe where did it come from? How did it all? I mean, it's a big question to ask. How did it all start, right? But assuming that someone doesn't know anything about, what is
Um,
happening there right now, could you give us maybe an
um,
explanation?
exact. So I have prepared something.
Oh,
I
presentation?
was yeah, short, just a very short presentation.
Oh, how exciting. I will make you the co-host, and I hope that that
Uh-huh.
means that you should be able to share your screen. So please let me know if you have any difficulty. But
Uh, yeah. This might be computer, but on my phone, I don't know if I can be able to share the images. Maybe we. Oh, yeah. What can I
um,
do?
if
Can I?
you send
But can
me
I
the,
send? Uh,
yeah, if you send me the presentation or if you attach it into the chat, then I can download it and then you can just tell me when to move the slide.
okay. Yes, I'll try to make slides of this presentation and then I can share it to you
Wonderful.
after the presentation, after the call. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited that you made a presentation. I love presentations.
Okay. Good. So I was thinking that the first point will focus on natural resources, armed conflicts, and citizen power in the Democratic Republic of Congo. And for this, we have to know that, yeah, I must um, thank you for this great honor and opportunity to speak with you today about the current situation that is urgent and unfortunately often ignored. And I think that I will share the reality of what is happening in eastern part of the DRC, a region that is ravaged by war, exploitation, and injustice for decades. So, a small context is that in Eastern Congo, people are suffering. Armed conflicts, human rights violations, and systemic violence have plagued our region for more than 2 decades, as I've said, and millions of people have been displaced. Women are raped, and this is used like a weapon of war, and thousands have lost their lives. So little children are enrolled by force in the army. And about the country, we have to know that DRC is the largest country in Africa after Algeria. So what we can learn about mineral wealth, for us, this is something like a curse in discourse. So the root of this suffering lies beneath our soil. Our country holds some of the world's most strategic minerals like coltan. We have the first reserve in the world. There is gold, there is cobalt, vital to the modern world is industries, smartphones, electric cars, and the global ecological transition. So these resources, they should be a blessing, but instead, they are a magnet for armed groups, foreign interests, and multinational corporations such as Apple and so forth and so on, who exploit them without regard for Congolese lives or sovereignty. So recently, there was a massacre in Goma. Goma, this is the capital city of North Kivu province. In January, a rebel group called the M23, supported directly by Rwanda militias, according to the different reports from United Nations and NGOs, civil society organizations. This massacre was committed in Goma and around Goma in some surrounding areas. So over 2,000 civilians were killed and nearly 5,000 were injured. So today, these forces control over 30% of North and South Kivu, where they are illegally operating. In Rubaya, this is the world's largest coltan mine. West Steel, so they are using child labor in blatant violation of international law. So about the modern day colonialism, I would say that the problem goes beyond guns and mines. It is systemic, it is economic, it is political. So through bilateral investment treaties, what is usually called the BITs, many signed in those BITs, many of them were signed in the aftermath of independence between poor countries like the Democratic Republic of Congo and rich countries. Those BITs are locked in an unfair contract with those wealthy nations. So these agreements allow the rich to invest freely in the poor countries in the global south. But we lack the means to invest in various. To mean we don't have sufficient means to invest in those countries. So if we try, unfortunately, to withdraw from these deals, international arbitration courts, heavily influenced by the World Bank and the IMF, demand that we pay triple compensation. And this is nothing less than a new form of colonialization hidden behind legal language and economic diplomacy. So our response, or before talking about our response, another point is about the debt, a colonial debt that exists. As you know, our country was colonized by Belgians. And after the departure of Belgians, there was a debt estimated to more than 45 billion Belgian francs that was imputed to the government, to the new regime after the independence. So today this debt exists, and they continue holding accountable the Congolese government to pay back, to reimburse this money. And since 2019, our government contracted a debt of about 6 billions of dollars to the IMF and the World Bank. And today, this debt has been generating interest. So far, we have a debt estimated to more than 15 billions of dollars. So this is another catastrophic situation. So what is our response? We think that in a country where little children are utilized in militias, in armed groups, we have to use non-violence and citizen power. So first, with this reality, of course, we have chosen non-violence. We believe in raising awareness, in collective mobilization, and in the strength of citizen power. So we are building a movement to awaken our people so they understand that the sovereign power lies with them in their hands, not in the hands of the few. The few, this is just the government. It is through united, peaceful resistance that we will shift the balance of power and reclaim our destiny. So we are also doing a call for solidarity. So our call, as you know, the Congo today, we can say that doesn't need a sort of pity. Congo needs justice. Congo needs allies who are ready to stand beside Congolese people, not to speak for us, but to listen, to amplify our voices and support our struggle for human dignity, social justice, sovereignty, and peace. So we decided not to be silent. We have to rise. We have to build the future of our people, the future that our people deserves. And this is possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Francois. Wow, that was a really amazing summary of the histories of, leading from the colonial period to the sort of neo-colonial, the debt. It still blows my mind that colonial debt is still a thing that remains. We still keep asking for the colonial debts to be paid when what we should be asking for, well, what should be being asked for is reparations. And yet, we're so resistant to give reparations, but also so resistant to stopping or, destroying the colonial era debts. And then we wonder why there's so much instability in, so-called global South regions. So thank you so much for like really, going into detail about that. I was wondering um, if anyone has any questions for Francois at this point.
Yeah, it's an observation, Francois, because I come from Kenya, and I've been working in England for quite a while now. I've been with people from Rwanda who actually come from Congo, but because they've lived in Rwanda for so long, they still call themselves Rwandese. But deep inside, they're still people from Congo. So all these boundaries were made by the Belgians, the French, and the British, but they divided communities, So we've got these overlapping communities in Tanzania, in Rwanda, in Congo, who speak the same language, the same culture, but then they're called Rwandese, they're called Tanzanians, they're called Ugandans, So this is the thing that disunites the whole concept around how do you get the information that's what's happening in Congo, who holds those powers to send, because we hear about Gaza, we hear about, maybe about Sudan, but Congo is quite slow and silent. But then there's so much happening which is so against humanity. So how can we help? Us being, I'm now in England, you know, and Kamite is in Australia with Ramon, but we got people. How can we get that message through and help that voice to be heard? That's what I'm really keen to see. You know, that's why I joined this session, to see where can my network be involved, so that we get your story. Like now, your story needs to be told to more people. You know, it's no longer a matter of doing webinars. We need to get it into the you know, contemporary news channels. You know, so it's what type, who's on the what boots are on the ground at the moment, that, you know, what kind of media houses are there? Why don't they report these things? Yeah. So I'm really concerned about this.
Thanks so much, Anthony, for your question. This is very, very interesting. For sure, what is happening in Congo is less spoken in the press, media, and maybe in other parts of the world, Europe, I don't know, United States, or maybe in other countries in Africa. So, yet, as I have said, Congolese people are undergoing a silent genocide, because you cannot imagine, for more than 3 decades, more than 10 million people died because of, our natural resources. And this is done. This has been made possible by, a sort of complicit between politicians in Congo and some, neighboring countries that cooperate immediately with the imperialist, or I don't know, some capitalists or some multinationals. So what I think that you have to do, that is possible to be done, is just to set up something like a campaign where we focus our efforts about what is happening in Congo. Because, as you have said, most of social movements, most of organization, even the media, they are much concentrated on what is happening in Gaza, South Sudan, than, I don't know, Ukraine, than talking about what, a silent genocide that is going on in the DRC. Since the country has a very great value, a very big power in terms of, a response to the whatever that is happening, climate change, and I don't know, other needs. So today we can't understand that a country like Rwanda is still signing agreements with, I don't know, United States of America, I don't know, China, I don't know, other countries in Europe, maybe England or Germany. Yet, Rwanda has been signing contracts with agreements with those countries about energy transition. Yet Rwanda doesn't have even a single kilogram of coltan in its land. So if we make efforts together with your collective, we try to, to organize events. You act being in England, and we act being here in Congo. I think this will bring much attention to what is happening here. And finally, those decision makers, they will understand that people are tired. People need, change. Because politicians, Congolese politicians, I don't know if this is a reality maybe in other countries, what they are speaking, being in Europe, I don't know, USA, is different from what is happening. I remember one day, a general inspector, the general inspector here in Congo was taking part through a big international conference. I think the conference was focused on investment. So this man said that we don't have war in Congo. We only watch the war on television, and this is happening very far from where institutions are, where we live. It is happening in a distance of more than 2,000 kilometers. So this is a proof that politicians, they are working for their own benefits, for their own interest. So if we have collectives in Europe, in United States of America, I don't know, all over the world, where people finally will try to amplify what we have like demands, truly speaking, the situation and some decisions will change. When there are summits on international level, it is better to, to have also people who are directly affected by what is happening, because those politicians are not affected. They are living in the capital city where they have electricity, where they have good houses, where they have access to everything. So the silent majority is completely ignored, yet the silent majority is, we are many than a small group of politicians. So this is what I think. To amplify it is to organize, to duplicate actions that we are doing here in Congo, and to have spaces, summits, as I've said, conferences, where finally we can talk about the situation in Congo.
Yeah, that's a great response. I wonder as well, because you mentioned, amplifying the voices of people speaking in DRC. And I'm wondering, social media is, a big way that people create visibility, through the fact that you can reshare the content that people are writing. I'm wondering if maybe it would be worth, if you have a moment, to write down some of the social media pages or the websites of some of the organizations, including the Extinction Rebellion, and more of the Congo specific, like Free Congo Collective, for example. Do you have a web presence in, oh, sorry, not Free Congo Collective, Congo Basin Alliance? Do you have a web presence?
Yes, we have it.
Okay. Yeah, I think it would be fantastic, like, if you're able to. I mean, I do content creation and have some, a little bit of social media clout, and I'm always looking for, organizations which are sort of, more on decolonial struggle and in the, so-called global South. But sometimes it can be difficult to find them. So if there's a list somewhere, then I can very easily follow and amplify where possible. And I'm sure others among us who also use social media would be able to do that. Also, I'm wondering, with your organizations, do you have, like, are there ways to give donations? Like, do you have, bank accounts associated with your organizations and things like that, where people might be able, people in, the global north might be able to raise in American dollars or in euros, do fundraising that would help to support your efforts there?
We don't have it so far, and this is due to much restrictions from politicians.
Oh.
But yeah, legal restrictions. But what I think we're wondering how to set up a crowdfunding. And on that point, we are sometimes limited because this cannot be made possible being here in Congo. Maybe you in Europe, I don't know, USA, this can be possible. So I think this is just a sort of problem that we have. But as you have said, I will share as well some links to our web presence.
Wonderful.
And then you can get acquainted with what we have been doing, what we are daily doing, some perspectives, or
that would be fantastic. I know that a number of people in Gaza, the way that they are dealing with the fact that they aren't allowed to open, like crowdfunding accounts is if they have like a relative or a colleague or even an acquaintance who can volunteer to make one on their behalf and then transfers the money over to them. And I guess, of course, that comes with its own issues, right? But it is potentially an option. Yeah, other than that, I know, so every year I do a fundraising live stream for an organization, and I use a company called tiltify.com. And I don't know what criteria that you need to fulfill in order to register on Tiltify as an organization. But, if you happen to have a presence on Tiltify before the end of October, then I would be very happy to do my fundraising for Congo Basin Alliance. I think that would be a really good use of that platform. But it would also, because people can, if they want to fundraise, but they don't really know who they want to fundraise for, Tiltify has a list based on causes. So if someone says, I want to fundraise for a humanitarian cause, they can go into that category and they can see like a list of the organizations which have that category. And I imagine Congo Basin Alliance would probably fall under the humanitarian cause. But yeah, I don't know if anyone else has any suggestions. Ramon, have you come across anything in your own work?
You did mention something similar with the fundraising aspects for Palestine. Yeah, I think there is a very big content creator push, especially I think with individual families in Gaza. Yeah, there's very much this tragically there's this it's almost like you have to grab people's attention just so that they can actually, there's a threshold in which if you watch the entire video, then yes, I think through the TikTok content creator fund, it pushes there's some funds there. Um, but yeah, understandably, I think there are some restrictions regards to fundraising, particularly to specific accounts in specific countries. But yeah, at this point, yeah, I think anything you say, yeah, I think is viable as long as there's a will.
I was going to suggest something because I work with groups in Kenya in a way that we have a very straightforward way of sending funds, using M-Pesa, which is a mobile, kind of financial transaction, which is very, very reliable. Now, my question to François was this: if we can work out something where you have people who are working for the good of what you're doing, and they're based in areas where because M-Pesa works in Tanzania, it works in Kenya, and I think Uganda. And we will be very happy to see how we can actually have funds sent to you through somebody you really trust, because at the end of the day, you're giving somebody some cash, and he can use it anyway because it's not restricted. It lands in his phone, and he can use it wherever he wants. So these are the things we need to work with you and see, is it possible to get these funds through, and then have somebody who you think, oh, maybe you yourself, see if you could get a SIM card or through M-Pesa, because as I said, Tanzania is there, Goma is near there. You say you're based in Kinshasa, and there should be a way where we can actually see a direct link to you and a fundraising entity, maybe in Europe or in America. But that's the kind of thing, that's why we're having these meetings, to see what is the best way to get this to you. If you can suggest any other way, or maybe having to cross the border and then come back, or somebody, a relative. That's what I say, these borders are just made up, but you have people who are, communities in both of these areas. Then we can actually work with you on that, because you can't just work on your own. We need to help you.
Yes, Anthony. For sure, M-Pesa, Airtel Money, I don't know, Orange Money, all of them, they are operating here. They are active in Congo. So maybe, as you have said, we can find out ways that we can use for different campaigns that we are running. I think this is possible. Yeah. Mm.
What do you think, Kavita or Raymond?
I think
Is there any suggestions? Because I'm looking at it in a way, we can open a bank account in Europe and have a community account where you write a you write a proposal, a grant, you get a grant through your bank, but we can't do that for DRC. So, but we can work around maybe fundraising, crowdfunding, even doing events where there's be specifically donations going straight to François. So these are the things I've been doing all my life. I've been working, with different organizations. So if we can work together that way, I think it's obvious, it's only François who can tell us what needs are there and how we can help. And maybe just a little goes a long way.
Absolutely. I think that money really talks in these kinds of struggles as well, especially if, if we're based in the West, our money goes much further. So, I mean, there's still the colonial debt to think about, but in the meantime, there's, ways that we can sort of fundraise for some of these grassroots organizations. And yeah, I think that M-Pesa is probably a good example, given that it operates in a number of different African countries. I guess the question would be, if we were to donate or to fundraise, like for example, if I wanted to fundraise for my Halloween live stream next month and raise funds for Congo Basin Alliance, how would those funds make it to the M-Pesa app from Australia if it only operates within these African countries? I'm not sure, like maybe if you've used M-Pesa before, can you do international transfers?
Yeah. I've been doing. There's several. There are apps online. So some of them don't operate in America. Some operate only in England. Some maybe there's some. There should be some. There's one called Penguin. There's one called Lemon Finance, Lemfine. You know, if you Google, you find that sending money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya from Australia, you'll find all these apps, you know, there. So it's a matter of seeing, are they compatible with Airtel, M-Pesa? You know, what SIM card are they compatible with? You know, and then we can work on that, because here in England we've got Lemon Finance, which is Lemfine, and what they do is they look at the daily rate, exchange rate. Like now, 175 Kenya shillings is £1. Now what they'll do is they won't give you that 125, they'll give 173. You know, so their profit is the difference. So they say it's free of charge, but they won't give you that daily rate. They'll take at least £2 or £3 out of, you know, for the transaction, which is much cheaper than Western Union or other bank transfers. So that's how I use. If I want to send money to my family, you know, I send within 2 minutes, they got it.
Okay. All right.
So
Well, that's
it's very efficient. But you have to check with Australia what type of app. You know, there's quite a lot. When you go to the App Store, you find there's quite a lot of apps that are compatible to the Australian, you know, system, because some apps won't work even in England. They will only work maybe only in America. There's one also called Penguin. You know,
and for example, would I need to download the M-Pesa app in order to send funds internationally to another person who uses M-Pesa? Or could I send it, you know, like, does it have like an IBAN code or something that, or Swift code with the M-Pesa account, and I could send it through my bank?
Well, that's the thing. You can actually talk to the bank international, but they don't want it, because they won't get any money.
Yeah,
you know, they won't get a commission. So most banks dissuade people to use M-Pesa. They want, it's not reliable, it's all that, you know, they bring all this fear. So you feel like, oh, I better use them, you know, and then they take a percentage of the commission.
Yeah.
But then what you can do is you can download the app and then use your WhatsApp phone number to send money to DRC or anywhere.
Okay, I guess it's worth looking into, because I mean, what I would then sort of be not concerned about, but something that might, you know, make people more reluctant to send funds quickly is, you know, for example, if they don't already use the M-Pesa app, but in order to, you know, help, you know, fundraise for the cause, if they need to download the app first and then learn a new technology and all that, I can see that being a barrier to some people. But, you know, this is what happens with capitalism and global imperialism, right? Where we're not incentivized.
You see, Francois told us he's got people not only in Belgium, the Extinction Rebels.
Yes, in Germany.
You know, they have their own, you know, entity. So if you guys can actually form an entity, and then they send the money to you, and then you're the ones who deals with the transaction to DRC.
Yes.
So they don't deal with the DRC directly. They deal with you, and you're the one who sends it directly to Francois.
That would, you know, I mean, I'm not an expert in these things, but you know, that seems like it would be really the ideal way to do it, not just because it, you know, makes it a little bit easier, but I think that if we're thinking about, you know, barriers that people in the West may have towards donating to these kinds of organizations, they will, due to our own internal biases, we will trust an organization which has an entity within Europe,
Yeah.
So that might be, I don't know, Francois, is that something that you've considered or that you've done before?
Sorry, Cab, I have lost you a bit. My network was
Oh,
cutting off.
okay. What was the last thing that you heard?
Uh, the last thing, right?
Yeah, what was the last thing that you heard me and Anthony talking about?
Ah, oh, I see. I heard you talking about I mean what are they making? You were wondering how I mean how to make possible international transfer. I think
Yes, that's right. Yeah, and
if I heard you better.
Anthony had a very good idea of if you were to use the what was it, Extinction Rebellion or the Congo, what was it? I took a
Basin
note.
Collective.
Basin.
Congo Basin Collective.
Yes, the Free Congo Collective in Berlin. If you were to maybe organize with them to, for example, to have like a bank account or something there in Berlin, and people can send money to that, and then they transfer that to DRC, would that make things easier for you to receive money, do you think? Is that something that you've considered or tried before?
Ah, okay. Yes. I think this is good, but as Anthony has said, if a bank account is needed, we can collaborate in that way. Maybe with the Extinction Rebellion, I don't know, and other collectives that try to talk about what is going on in Congo. And on the other side as well, yeah, we just see what can be as well possible, like maybe Western Union or MoneyGram, but from MoneyGram, even M-Pesa, as Anthony said, or at Airtel Money.
Yeah.
Yeah, all those are possible ways of getting any transfer.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah, I think it would be really good to maybe keep this discussion going about how to, I guess, help grassroots organizations that are working in DRC to be able to receive funds from Western countries. Because that could be a way that we can help you to do the work that you need to do and give you the support that you need, while not just, coming in and being a white savior. We can give you the money so that you can do what you need to do. You know what I mean?
Yes, I think we can advance in discussions like this.
Yeah.
Because I think this is very interesting. It will help anyway to make more, because sometimes we are blocked. There are provinces where we cannot go because of lack of financial resources, as the country itself is very huge. To live from a province to another, you need to take transport. And as we don't even have roads, sometimes you will need to take plane. So apart from this, another point is just about materials that people can need to print banner, to write messages. People can print some T-shirts. because of course all of us we are doing voluntary work, and to do this, of course, nobody can be paid. Nobody can be paid for this, because the work that is done, it is just for the nowadays and the coming generations. Reason why we think that if we get just what is possible, it will be better to organize the communities, because as I've said, there is a silent majority suffering. Politicians don't care, and some structured NGOs are not also having an eye on that kind of people, indigenous people, how their rights are violated. Some of them who live near protected areas, how they are sometimes evicted because of fossil fuel projects. So I think all of these questions are possible if people get the capacity, and of course some funds to move from one place, one province to another. You cannot imagine North Kivu itself. It is two countries in terms of if you try to see how big is North Kivu province, you cannot imagine. North Kivu province, it is Rwanda and and Burundi combined, the two countries together, one province. So we have a very big task, and I think the supports or the funds are needed to realize or to get what we have like objectives.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I'm wondering as well, in terms of what we can do to help, foster awareness of what is happening with, other people here, besides, if you share your socials, we can reshare some of the posts and follow organizations. But apart from that, is there something that you think that you need us to be doing in order to help promote awareness of what's happening?
Okay, so I think that as we have said, next month, maybe we can just work on a proposal. I don't know, to raise the fund. We can be working on a proposal during the 2 weeks that remain to end the month, and maybe identify some allies, some people who can also who have capacity, who are flexible, who can easily understand what is going on and do what they can do to organize something like support actions in their different countries, or support local grassroots immediately in Congo. So I think we can work on these during the 2 weeks, and then next month, if everything is ready, we can launch. You can now launch a fundraising and see what will be made possible. Because for sure we have ideas. I will keep sharing some big ideas of the strategic campaigns that we want to implement, and then I think this can be the first step before going forward.
Wonderful. Is there any other thoughts or questions or suggestions for François? I'm sure there's probably
Yeah.
plenty from people who are watching. Sorry,
Yeah.
did you have something to say, Anthony?
No, the thing is that I've looked up Francois's LinkedIn, and I've requested for us to connect. So there's quite a lot that you're already doing, which I like, the fact that we can actually support some of the campaigns that you're doing. And having a talk like this for decolonization, I'm thinking we need to put you in more platforms, you know, because I have a network of curators from the Museum Lab, and some of them come from Rwanda, and as you say, Belgium. We've got the African Museum in Belgium, which I'm feeling, if you can talk from that kind of platform, then even the Congo, people from Congo, will be able to donate, because they live in Europe, but they'd like to help, but most people, you don't know who to trust, you don't know. So we need to get you into several platforms within my network, and we see how we can work. You know, we just have to be able to send a message through. You know, maybe even we don't have to appeal for funding. We just have to get the message out. We find ways where you have your ears to the ground, so you can give us the latest information. You can give us what is needed, you know, so that we do our own campaign. But you will be the eyes for us, because that's what we don't have. We hardly have any, you know, anybody on the grassroots doing, you know, activists, and I'm looking like you are the best option for us, you know, to just understand what's going, the situation, what is needed, you know, because we can say, oh yeah, we can send so much, but you are the one who can say this campaign is important, this is urgent, this is, you know, less urgent. So yeah, let's be in touch. So I've sent you a connection on LinkedIn, and maybe Capital, do I have you on my LinkedIn?
Yes, yes, you do. I
Are we on
just
LinkedIn?
looked you up just now, and I do have you on LinkedIn.
Yeah. So let's do that. Let's use the social media,
Mhm.
because it's the only way we can actually have this information out there. You know, and I've got a big network, so I can always call out and say we need to have Francois on our webinar, and we see how many people will respond, because it's a very important thing that we need to keep on doing. And I like the fact that you've given Francois this platform to showcase his work.
Oh, I didn't give Francois a platform. He volunteered. And I said, yes, please. So thank you, Francois, for reaching out. I'm really glad that we were all able to come together and have a chat about this, you know. As Anthony said, one thing that we really lack is people with the eyes on the field doing the work. You know, we hear about these things occasionally on the news, but we don't actually hear about it from the people who are impacted by it, which is a problem. And it's funny you mention, Anthony, Belgium, because yes, I think that if at the moment the Congo Basin Alliance doesn't have so many connections with Belgium, then this could be a really good area or a really good region to be tapping into, because there's such a strong activist community across Belgium. I've actually got a colleague, a friend of mine. I was living in Belgium for a year, and one of my friends who is coming over to Melbourne for a few weeks at the end of the month. Her background is Burundi. She was born in Belgium, but her family are from Burundi, and she's very, very well connected in Belgium as well. So I think hopefully between you and her, we should be able to expand Francois's networks and also hopefully get some more allies for the Congo Basin Alliance.
I'm happy to connect and find, similar people who can take this forward. Yeah. Anyway, I'm aware of the time, so I don't know how long was this call for?
It was just going to be for an hour, just for a basic introduction to the DRC and what is happening, how we can help. But it seems like this is a discussion that needs to continue, like there's a lot that we can be doing, but it will take time and we'll need to discuss and keep the conversation going. So yeah, I'm really excited to see how things go. I'll share the recording in the Decolonial Discussion Group after it's been processed, so that hopefully more people can join in on the discussion if they have any other suggestions or questions for Francois, then I'm sure they'll be able to ask. But Francois, did you want to have a final word before we close off the session?
My final word is to address you, my CCA. Thanks for having made this possible, this call. It was very wonderful. We have known each other. So I think this is just the first step, as I have said. We'll now connect and try to work finally together for, of course, the benefit of the benefit of the humanity. And I think this is very good. Thanks for your time. Thanks for your inspiring words. This gives us much energy and force to work in a context that is not so easy. The context where repression is used like a tool to, so that people might be silent against about what is going on. So I think you are what you have said. It is very, very, very good, very important, and I will keep sharing to comrades. Sure, they will be happy. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much again for talking today, and thank you everyone who came here to listen. This was a really, I don't know, I would say generative discussion that we've had, and also thank you to anyone who's watching the recording. I really look forward to continuing the discussion elsewhere. So I will end the call now, but I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and yeah, have a good weekend ahead. Bye, everyone.
Take care, everybody.